Hi everyone, welcome to my sewing and cutting tutorial. I'm Mariam Adedokun-Shifumi. I'm a fashion designer, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. So I make tutorials on cutting and sewing, and if you really want to know how to cut and how to sew, just keep watching. So today's topic is about gaping in fabric. Gaping is a situation where a garment does not fit properly on the body. There is excess around the garment, probably on the neck side or the armhole or the part of the shoulder line or at the waist. We can have gaping. It is the excess that exists around our cutter's line that doesn't make the garment fit properly. And what are the causes of this gaping? We have excess shoulder measurement. Probably your shoulder is 15 or 14 and you went ahead to cut a shoulder that is 16 or 17. By the time you fix your sleeve, the sleeve will be pushing in the shoulder, thereby having gaping at the shoulder line. Another causes of gaping is fabric direction. We have a situation where we are supposed to cut a lengthwise direction or a crosswise direction, and you went ahead to cut your fabric on the bias direction, so you'll be having some gaping because that place is stretchy, and by the time you sew it will have stretched and there will be gaping. Another causes of gaping around the neck, when you create a deep neckline, the neck is so deep, so maybe a V neckline. By the time you sew it, because that V neckline or a very deep neckline is already on bias grain or crosswise, so by the time you sew it, you'll be having some gaping around the neckline. Another cause of gaping is also a drafting that doesn't conform with the body shape. Let's take an example. The human body is not just straight. We have shape at the waist, we have a shape that fits in, so and fabric is just straight. But if you cut fabric and you just cut it straight like that, and you think it's going to fit into the body without some alteration, without contouring, no, there will be gaping because the body and the fabric, they take the same shape. Take example at our waistline. If you cut your waistline at the back and it is straight, instead of it to be a bit slanted, there will be gaping around that place because the waist is not straight. Our shoulder is slopey, our shoulder is not straight, so you have to cut your fabric to conform with the shape of the body. So there are tips in handling gaping, and the first one is fabric selection. When you want to choose your fabric, you choose fabric that's go in line with what you want to sew. In fashion designing, each style have a particular fabric that you can use to sew it. You can't just get any fabric for any style, so you should choose some fabric that are less prone to gaping, such as structured fabric. If you choose fabric that are stretchy, a kind of fabric that is stretchy are prone to gaping, so when you cut them, there's a way you should eliminate gaping, otherwise there will be gaping. Gaping also exists around the seam line, whereby when you want to join your front and back bodies together, you find out that probably the front body is longer than the back bodies and it won't match up. So there should be proper stitching technique when sewing so that the seam line will match up and they will be gaping. Another tip in handling gaping is interfacing. You can create structure for your fabric to make them strong enough to be able to sew a particular place so that they won't be gaping. You can also handle gaping during fitting section. After putting on your garment, you want to check some parts that cannot fit, so you pin it and you make an adjustment on that part so that it will fit and conform with the body shape. Now I'm going to take you through the process of eliminating gaping on fabric, so let's get into it. I want to eliminate gaping from a reduced shoulder line, so I replicated my pattern into another paper and determine how I want to reduce the shoulder. So I use my pattern master to draw the curve. Next, I'm cutting that curve. Then I'm going to create my style line around the armhole. You just determine where you want to remove the gaping. I just determine a place and then use my pattern master to connect it to the apex. Then I'll slash through the line. You can determine to use your boss dart or your whiz dart. So I'm going to cut my boss dart and lap that line to the other side, just like ½ inch or so. Then I am cutting my dart completely, and now you have a reduced armhole. So I'm filling up that space because it have to be filled up before you place it on fabric. So I'm filling it up by adding gum and creating back the curve. So now we have a smaller armhole and the gaping have been eliminated, and so yeah, beautiful and nice. So with this there will be no gaping at all. Thank you. See how beautiful it is. So I'm replicating my bodice into another paper, and now I'm making it a full bodice. So I'm making asymmetric neckline. So I'm drawing my style line for the neck. The sole purpose is to eliminate gaping at the neckline. So now after then I will draw a line to connect to the apex and take the 1/4 of an inch at both sides, then slash through the line. Then I will cut through the boss dart also, so I can be able to close that line and hold it with my paper tape. Then I'm cutting my dart completely. So now the boss is protruding, which shows that we've already made a dart right there. So now I'm cutting the other boss darts and waist dart also to close my waist dart and leave the boss darts. So now we have bodies with asymmetric. So yeah, I'm making an overlapping top. Overlapping top usually have gaping, especially when you are working with a stretchy fabric. So I'm making the neck I want. I'm connecting the neckline style line to the second dart leg and cutting it right there. So next I will just draw a line to connect to the apex, that is the boss point, and I will just slash that line through the dart leg and overlap it like just ½ inch. Cut also the dart leg so I can be able to overlap it with ½ inch. So I'm overlapping it right now. I use my paper tape to hold it. So next I'm slashing the bust darts so I can close my waist darts, or otherwise you can also close your bust darts and use the waist dart, anyone you choose to use. So with this now there won't be gaping at the neck area because you already eliminate gaping at the neckline. So now I'm going to through that neck area because there's space and I have to fill up that space before I place it on fabric. So yeah, that's it, and I'm going to cut so everything will be smooth. So now we have an overlapping pattern with no gaping and with both darts. I'm creating a V back neckline, so I'm drawing the neck style line, and I want to eliminate gaping around the neckline, so I'll just draw a line around the neckline to connect to the apex, that is the bust point. One thing about pattern drafting is you can be creative, you can alter, maneuver, or manipulate your design to achieve a desired design. Then next, I will draw a line at the middle of my shoulder line and cut the line, and also cut the shoulder line, because you have to make sure your pattern is flat. If you don't cut through those lines to create a little dart, the pattern will be like there'll be a bulge, so you have to be flat. So now I'm lapping the neckline onto the other side and cutting the waist dart also, so I can have a flat pattern around there. Then next, I'm using my paper tape to hold down the cut out line, and since there is a space or gap around that neckline, I have to fill up so it will connect to the neckline properly. At this point, we have a neckline with no gaping, but we have space around the shoulder and the waist, so we have to fill up. Sorry, I wasn't able to fill up those places. You have to fill it up so there won't be darts around there, and you make a full body.